The desert was silent. Only the wind moved across the dry red sand. The sun was falling behind the rocky hills, turning the sky into fire. Evan Cole wiped the sweat from his face and kept digging. His hands were covered in dust and blood. The old mining machine beside him coughed smoke and died again. He kicked it hard. Nothing. He sat down, breathing heavy. His life was nothing but digging for metal scraps and old tech pieces from the war that ended 50 years ago. He sold them for food, for fuel, for another day to survive. But that evening felt strange. The air was too still. The silence felt alive. Then from under the sand he heard it, a faint sound. At first it was like a weak heartbeat. Then it became a small knock. Knock, knock. Evan froze. His skin turned cold. No way. He whispered. He picked up his scanner. The small screen blinked with a signal, something metallic buried deep below. But there was also heat. And movement. Without thinking, Evan started digging again. The desert swallowed his sweat and breath. The more he dug, the stronger the sound became. After an hour, his shovel hit metal, smooth, cold, and curved. He wiped the sand away. It wasn't a box. It was a pod. A strange silver pod half buried like a coffin. Evan's heart pounded. What the hell is this? There were no marks, no words, no signs of human design. Only one small glass window fogged from inside. He brushed the dust off and looked closer, and then he saw her, a girl, maybe 16, pale skin with a faint blue glow under it. Her hair floated in the pod's liquid, silver like moonlight. Her eyes were closed and she looked dead until her fingers twitched. Evan jumped back. She's alive. He checked the pod again. There was no switch, no door, no way in. The machine beside him couldn't even scan it properly. It said unknown material, unknown life form. The knocking started again, but this time from inside. Tap, tap, tap. The sound went straight through Evan's chest. He didn't think. He just grabbed his drill and aimed at the edge of the glass. Sparks flew. The pod resisted like it didn't want to open. Hang on, I'm trying, he shouted, even though she couldn't hear. After minutes of drilling, a small crack appeared. Blue mist hissed out, cold and bright. The glass split open with a sharp sound, and the liquid poured out, washing over the sand. The girl fell forward, gasping. Her body glowed faintly as she tried to breathe. Evan caught her before she hit the ground. She was light, too light. Her skin was cold like metal but soft like silk. He laid her down gently. Hey, stay with me, he said. Her lips moved, but the words were broken. Don't let them find me. Evan's breath stopped. Who's coming? Her eyes opened for a second, bright silver, glowing like stars. Then she fainted again. Evan looked around. The wind had stopped. The desert felt like it was listening. He dragged the girl back to his workshop, a small metal shelter built inside an old crater. The sun had died by the time he reached home. The sky was black and full of quiet thunder. He placed her on his work table and covered her with a blanket. Her skin still shimmered. The glow under her veins moved like tiny rivers of light. Evan turned on a lamp and whispered, "What are you?" He checked her pulse, slow but strong. Her breathing was strange, almost mechanical. He hooked up his old scanner again and it flashed with symbols he'd never seen. Then the screen turned white and shut down. Static filled the air. His radio started buzzing even though it had no power. A strange voice whispered through it, too low to understand. Then the lights flickered. Evan stared at her, scared but fascinated. She looked human, but something in her made the room feel alive, like the air was moving with her heartbeat. Outside, lightning flashed. For a second, the entire desert lit up, and in that flash, Evan saw something high above the clouds. A shadow, huge and silent, moving fast. It wasn't a storm. It was a ship. Evan ran to the door and looked through his old binoculars. The object was dark, shaped like a triangle, floating without sound. Blue lights moved under its surface. Then a beam of light swept across the desert, searching. He turned off every light and ducked down beside the girl. She was shaking now, her glowing veins bright like neon lines. The beam passed over his shelter, then moved on. But before it disappeared, the girl woke up and grabbed his hand. Her voice was weak but clear. "You shouldn't have opened it," she whispered. Evan swallowed. "I was trying to save you." Her eyes filled with tears that shimmered like liquid silver. "They buried me alive, and now they will come for you too." The radio came alive again, this time louder. A cold alien voice echoed through it. Subject located. Energy signature confirmed. Evan's heart stopped. He looked outside. The ship was turning toward him. He whispered, "Oh no." The girl looked at him, fear and pain mixing in her eyes. "Run," she said, but it was too late. The ground trembled. The sky above the crater turned blue, and from the clouds a column of light began to fall, straight toward them. The desert burned again by morning. Smoke rose from the crater where Evan's shelter once stood. The sand was glass now, melted by the light that fell from the sky. Evan opened his eyes slowly. His ears rang. His body ached. He was lying half buried in sand, his clothes burned and torn. For a moment he thought he was dead. Then he heard a weak sound, someone breathing beside him. The girl. She was alive, curled in a small hole she had made with her glowing hands. The blue light in her veins flickered softly. She looked hurt but alive. Evan crawled toward her. "Hey, are you okay?" She opened her eyes slowly. "You stayed," she whispered. Her voice was soft, almost too soft for a human ear. Evan gave a weak smile. Didn't really have a choice. The whole sky exploded. The girl tried to sit up but winced in pain. Evan helped her. She looked around at the smoke and destruction, her face full of sadness, not fear. "They found me," she said. Evan frowned. "Who did?" She hesitated. "My own blood." Evan blinked. "You mean your family?" She nodded slowly. "My brothers." Her eyes glowed for a moment. "They buried me here, alive." Evan felt a chill crawl down his spine. Why would they do that? She looked up at the bright sky as if searching for something far beyond it. "Because I am not like them anymore." Silence fell between them. Only the wind moved. Evan didn't know what to say. He had met many broken people in his life, but never someone who said her own kind wanted her dead. He took a deep breath. "All right, you're hurt and I have no home left. But I know a place, an old tunnel system. We can hide there for now." The girl looked unsure, but she nodded. "You saved me once. I will trust you again." Hours later, they reached an abandoned tunnel under the desert cliffs. The walls were cracked, covered in dust and rusted machines. Evan lit a small lantern, and its orange glow spread across the cold space. The girl sat near the wall, her silver hair catching the light. She looked strange, like she didn't belong to this world, or maybe like this world didn't deserve her. "What's your name?" Evan finally asked. "Lyra," she said softly. "It means song of light in my language." Evan smiled faintly. "Pretty name." She looked at him curiously. "And you?" "Evan Cole," he said. "Just a man who digs in the dirt." Lyra tilted her head. "No, you are the man who opened the tomb of a dying star." He laughed nervously. "That sounds poetic, but I think I just made the biggest mistake of my life." Her silver eyes softened. "Maybe not. Maybe you were chosen." "Chosen?" She didn't answer. Instead, she looked down at her hands. The glowing lines on her skin began to move faster, forming patterns like constellations. Evan stared. "What's happening?" he asked. Lyra's breathing grew shallow. "My body is adjusting to your atmosphere. The energy in me is waking up." Then the air around her began to hum, quiet but powerful. The lantern flickered. Tools rattled on the floor. Evan stepped back. "Is this safe?" Lyra shook her head. "No, it's a beacon. It will call them again. Can't you stop it?" Her voice broke. "If I could, I wouldn't be running." She covered her face with her hands, trembling. "I was part of the Pure Blood Council," she whispered. "We were meant to protect life across galaxies. But they changed. They started taking energy from living worlds, stealing their core light. When I refused to join them, they called me broken." Evan listened quietly. He didn't understand everything, but her pain was real. "They buried me here," she continued, "because Earth was one of their testing grounds. They wanted to erase my energy before I could warn anyone." Evan clenched his fists. "So your brothers are coming to finish the job." Lyra nodded slowly. "They never stop. To them, family means obedience, not love." Evan walked to the tunnel entrance and looked out at the burning horizon. "Then we'll make them stop." She looked up at him, confused. "You would fight them? For me?" He shrugged. "You're just a kid. I don't care what planet you're from. No one deserves to be buried alive." For the first time, Lyra smiled. It was small but full of warmth, like a spark in the dark. But the moment didn't last. A low sound filled the tunnel. like a heartbeat mixed with thunder. The ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lyra stood up fast. They found the signal. Evan grabbed a flashlight and ran to the surface. In the distance, he saw 3 burning lights descending from the clouds. Ships, huge, sharp and alive with blue fire. Lyra's eyes filled with fear. They sent hunters. My brothers won't come themselves yet. They always send machines first. Evan felt the ground shake harder as one of the ships landed miles away. How do we stop them? Lyra stepped closer to him. You don't, you hide. But they'll kill us. She looked at him sadly. Then we run until there's nowhere left. A sudden sound echoed, metal footsteps above them. The tunnels began to glow with blue light. Evan grabbed her hand. Too late for hiding. She looked straight into his eyes, her voice steady and calm now. Then stay close to me, human. What happens next will not be easy to believe. And before Evan could speak, Lyra raised her hand. The air cracked with light, and the tunnel exploded into white fire. The white light faded slowly, leaving a cloud of dust and smoke. Evan opened his eyes and gasped for air. His ears rang and his hands were shaking. The tunnel was gone. Half of it had collapsed. He looked around. Stones, broken machines, and glowing dust floated gently in the air, like fireflies caught in a dream. And in the middle of it all, Lyra stood unharmed. She was surrounded by a sphere of pale blue light. Her silver hair floated softly in the glow, and her eyes were bright like stars. She looked calm, too calm for someone who had just blown up a mountain. Evan stumbled toward her. What did you do? Lyra looked at her hands, trembling. I didn't mean to, she whispered. The energy inside me had answered the fear. Evan stared at the glow fading from her body. Answered? Like it's alive. Lyra nodded slowly. It is. The energy is not mine to control. It's ancient. My people call it the core light. It chooses who can hold it. But when I was born, it chose me, and that made me dangerous. The wind howled outside the broken tunnel. The sky had turned darker than before, almost purple. Evan looked up and saw something strange. Lines of blue light moving across the clouds, forming symbols like a giant alien message being written in the air. What's happening? He asked. Lyra closed her eyes. It's sending a signal. Your energy? She nodded. Yes, every time I use it, the core light calls to its source, the central system of my people. It tells them where I am. Evan's stomach twisted. So you just told your brothers exactly where we are? Lyra's voice broke. Yes, and now they will come. The next hour was chaos. Evan tried to pack food, water, tools, anything useful. His hands moved fast, his heart faster. The small generator he'd built started sparking. All his devices were going crazy. His old radio began to hiss again. Sorry, static, unknown life signal detected, energy anomaly rising. He slammed the switch. It's everywhere, he muttered. Lyra stood near the tunnel's edge, watching the sky like she could read the stars. It's not just them, she said quietly. The signal woke something else too. Evan frowned. Something else? Machines left behind from the old wars. They were built to respond to alien tech. Now they're waking up. A cold wind swept through the desert. The ground trembled faintly. In the distance, Evan saw movement. Dark shapes rising from under the sand. Rusted machines long dead, now glowing with new blue light. Their eyes opened one by one, scanning the horizon. Great, Evan muttered. We've got alien hunters and zombie robots. Lyra looked confused. Zombie? He laughed weakly. Never mind. Long story. Then, without warning, his radio screamed again, loud and sharp. The voice wasn't human this time. Subject confirmed. Coordinates locked. Prepare for retrieval. Evan dropped it. They're close. Lyra's glow dimmed. Too close. She walked toward him slowly. If they catch me, they will take the core light back. But they can't remove it without killing me. Evan clenched his jaw. Then they're not taking you. Her eyes softened. You don't understand. They don't fear death. They erase it. Before Evan could ask what she meant, a blinding flash lit up the desert. The sky ripped open as 3 alien ships descended, silent, massive, shaped like black arrows. Their engines hummed with energy that made the sand vibrate. Each ship dropped something, small glowing orbs that floated toward the ground. When they landed, they unfolded into tall silver figures. Hunters. They had no faces, just smooth masks with blue symbols running across them. Each carried a staff that hummed like lightning. Lyra stepped back, breathing fast. They sent the collectors. I thought they were myths. Evan pulled out his old plasma cutter. It wasn't a weapon, but it was all he had. Guess we'll find out if myths can bleed. Lyra shook her head. No, you can't fight them. Watch me. He ran to the side, hiding behind a wrecked transport. The collectors scanned the area, blue light sweeping across the sand. One of them stopped, its mask turning directly toward Lyra's faint glow. Evan's heart pounded. They see you. I know. She stepped forward slowly. Are you insane? She looked at him. If I don't go, they'll destroy this whole area. They always cleanse what they can't control. Evan looked at the machines rising from the sand, the sky glowing, and the alien ships humming above. He realized the truth, there was nowhere left to run. Fine, he said. Then we do this together. Lyra looked surprised. You would die for me? He smiled faintly. I don't plan to die. Not today. Then something changed. The symbol on Lyra's chest began to glow brighter than ever. Her voice became calm again, almost like she was listening to someone far away. They're not just here for me, she whispered. They're here for you too, Evan froze. Me? Why me? She turned to him, her eyes full of something between sorrow and awe. Because the core light inside me connected with you when you pulled me out of the pod. You're linked to it now. Evan's mind went blank. You're saying, I'm glowing too? Lyra smiled sadly. Not yet, but soon. Before he could respond, the ground split open. A pulse of blue energy exploded from the desert, shooting straight into the sky like a beacon. The collectors turned their heads upward as if saluting it. The ships above began to charge their weapons. Evan grabbed Lyra's arm. We have to move. But Lyra just whispered, it's too late. The signal has been sent. The council knows I live. The sky thundered with alien voices, and far above the clouds something even larger began to move. A shadow so big it covered the stars. The night sky no longer looked like a sky. It looked like a wound, wide and bleeding light. 3 alien ships hung above the desert like black mountains. Their surfaces shimmered with blue fire, forming strange runes that moved like living veins. Each time the ships pulsed, the ground below trembled. Evan stood on the edge of the broken cliff, staring up at the impossible sight. The air smelled like metal and rain. His hands shook, but not from fear, at least that's what he told himself. Beside him, Lyra stood silent, her silver eyes reflecting the alien glow. Her voice was soft. They came faster than I thought. Evan swallowed hard. You said they were far away. I was wrong. She looked down at the sand where the collectors, those tall silver hunters, were spreading out. They have a direct link to the core light. Once the signal was sent, they traced it instantly. Evan clenched his jaw. So they're here to kill you. Lyra shook her head slowly. No, Evan. They're here to erase me. The word erase chilled him more than death itself. The desert was no longer quiet. The air itself hummed, vibrating with alien power. Machines woke up under the sand. Old human war relics drawn to the same energy. They crawled from the ground. Metal limbs twisted, broken, but moving again. The alien signal controlled them now. Evan looked around. They're using our own machines against us. Lyra nodded, her glow dimming. It's what they do. They infect and control. Your planet is a toy to them. He stared at her. Then we stop them. She looked at him sadly. You can't stop something made from light. Then I'll break their damn light bulbs, he muttered. Gripping his plasma cutter, for the first time, Lyra laughed, a small warm sound in the middle of chaos. It made Evan forget for a moment that they were probably going to die. A deep sound filled the desert, a mechanical roar that seemed to come from everywhere. One of the ships lowered a beam of blue light to the surface. The sand exploded upward, forming a circular portal of swirling dust and electricity. Out of that light stepped something massive. It was shaped like a man, but its body was carved from smooth silver metal. Its chest glowed with a burning symbol, the same one that flickered faintly on Lyra's chest. Its eyes were nothing but white fire. Lyra's face went pale. No, that's not a collector. That's my brother. Evan froze. Brother? She nodded weakly. Kyle, the oldest of us. He leads the Purity Fleet. The giant looked around the desert, scanning. His voice echoed in the air, not through sound, but through thought. Lyra of the fractured line, you have broken the vow of purity. Lyra stepped forward, trembling. Kale, please. You don't have to do this. The core light doesn't belong to you, it belongs to all life. The alien's eyes flared brighter. You speak corruption. The light was never meant for the weak. You have touched the unclean. His gaze turned to Evan. And you will burn for it. Evan felt a pressure in his mind, like someone squeezing his skull from inside. He dropped to his knees, shouting. Lyra ran to him, her hands glowing. She pressed them to his temples, whispering fast in her language. The pain faded. The glow around her grew. Evan gasped. What did you do? I shielded your mind, she said softly. But it won't last long. He's trying to erase your existence. Evan stood, shaking. He'll have to try harder. He looked at the metal bunker entrance nearby, an old Earth defense station buried decades ago. Come on, he said. I have an idea. They ran through the desert while beams of light exploded behind them. The ships fired energy pulses, carving craters in the sand. Evan led Lyra to the bunker, using his old codes to open the hatch. The heavy door creaked and they slipped inside just before another blast hit. Inside, the air smelled like oil and dust. Rusted machines lined the walls. Broken defense drones lay silent, their red sensors dead. Lyra looked around. What is this place? An old war shelter, Evan said, panting. The government built these to survive alien attacks before we lost the war. She touched a broken control panel. Her hand glowed and suddenly the lights flickered back to life. The machines hummed. The walls vibrated. Evan stared. You can power tech? Lyra nodded faintly. My energy connects with your machines easily. They were built from alien remains. Maybe I can wake them up. She walked to a central console and placed both hands on it. Blue light spread through the wires, crawling across the metal like living fire. The drone's eyes snapped open, glowing red. Evan smiled. That's what I'm talking about. Lyra's face tightened in pain. It's working, but it's taking energy from me. Too much. He ran to her. Stop, she shook her head. If I stop, the defenses die. I have to finish. The bunker shook violently. Outside, the collectors approached. The drones activated their cannons and burst through the surface, firing at the invaders. The night lit up with fire. Evan helped Lyra stand as alarm screamed. We've got a small army up there now. She looked at him, weak but smiling. You fight like no human I've ever seen. He laughed. You haven't met enough humans. Then the ceiling cracked. The metal giant, Kyle, was above them, glowing with fury. His voice thundered. You cannot hide in the dust, little sister. You chose the dirt over the stars. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. I chose life. Evan raised his plasma cutter. And she's not alone anymore. The ground split open, light flooded in, and the first battle between human and alien began. The desert burned for hours after the battle. Flames painted the night sky orange. Smoke curled toward the stars, carrying the smell of metal, ash, and something stranger. Ozone, the scent of alien energy. Inside the bunker, everything was quiet. The floor was cracked, walls half melted. Evan sat beside Lyra's unconscious body, his face covered in dust and dried blood. He had fought. He had seen machines explode, drones fall, and alien fire tear through steel. But somehow he was still alive. And so was she. He looked at her, peaceful, glowing faintly in her sleep. Even broken and hurt, she didn't look weak. She looked eternal. Evan ran a trembling hand through his hair. You saved me again, he whispered. Why? No answer. Only the slow rhythm of her strange breathing, half air, half light. He leaned back against the wall. Guess we're both too stubborn to die. Hours passed. The fires outside faded. The night turned cold, then suddenly Lyra gasped. A soft glow bloomed under her skin, spreading through her body like a rising sun. Her eyes opened, silver, brighter than ever. Evan jumped. Hey, easy, you're okay. She looked around in confusion, then at him. You didn't leave? He frowned. Leave? You think I'd walk away after everything? Her lips curved into a tired smile. Humans always surprise me, he chuckled. We're good at that. She sat up slowly, touching her chest. The faint symbol on her skin pulsed weakly. The core light. It's changing. Evan leaned closer. Changing how? It's not just inside me anymore, she whispered. It's inside you too. Evan froze. Inside me? She nodded. When you touched me, when you tried to save me from the pod, it bonded to your energy. The core saw your will to protect and it connected us. Evan laughed nervously. You're saying I'm glowing on the inside? Lyra tilted her head. Not yet. But soon your heart will learn to speak the language of light. He rubbed his face. Yeah, that sounds totally normal. Her smile faded. Evan, this is serious. The core light doesn't bond easily. It means you're part of it now. You can feel what I feel, he blinked. Like telepathy. Stronger, she said. If I die, the link breaks. You'll die too. Evan stared at her, speechless. You're joking. I wish I was. They sat in silence. The bunker lights flickered weakly. Above them, distant thunder rolled across the desert. Finally, Evan said, Then we better make sure neither of us dies. Lyra stood and walked to the center of the room. She touched the floor and the metal glowed faintly. This place still has power. There's something buried below. Evan frowned. What do you mean? The core can feel it. Old human energy tech, based on our fragments. It's connected to the planet's pulse. Evan grabbed a crowbar. Then let's dig it up. After an hour of breaking through steel plates and dust, they found it. A strange machine buried beneath the floor. It looked human-built, but the heart of it was alien. A crystal core pulsed faintly inside, matching Lyra's own rhythm. Evan stared. What is this thing? Lyra's eyes widened. A life spark reactor. I thought they destroyed them all. He frowned. Life spark? It's a piece of the core light, she said softly. Your people discovered fragments long ago. They used them to power weapons, ships, even their cities. But the Council destroyed them after the war. They didn't want humans to have that kind of light. Evan touched the metal carefully. So this connects to you? Yes, she said. But it's not awake, he looked at her. Can you wake it? She hesitated. I can try. But it will cost energy and maybe more. Evan stepped closer. Do it. If this thing helps us fight back, we need it. She looked into his eyes. You don't understand. The core reacts to emotion. Fear, hope, anger, it amplifies everything. If I lose control, the light could destroy us both. Evan took her hand. Then don't do it alone. Lyra stared at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Hold on to me. No matter what happens, don't let go. The air around them began to shimmer. Blue light spilled from the cracks in the floor. The reactor's crystal heart started spinning, faster and faster until the entire bunker glowed. Lyra's hair lifted in the energy wave, her eyes bright with pain. Evan gritted his teeth and held her tighter. Electric wind tore through the room. Metal bent. The reactor screamed like it was alive. Evan saw flashes in his mind, planets burning, alien cities of glass, oceans of light. Then a voice, not Lyra's, not his, whispered through his thoughts. Human. Bearer of the spark, you are not chosen, yet you endure. Evan gasped. What is that? Lyra's voice trembled. The core is speaking to you. It's recognizing your strength. The light exploded outward. For one blinding moment, Evan saw everything. Lyra's world, her memories, her brother's cruelty, her pain. He saw what she had lost, and when the light finally faded, he was glowing too. His veins shimmered faintly, just like hers. Lyra looked at him with shock and awe. It's impossible. The core accepted you. Evan looked at his hands, still shining faintly. Guess it likes me. But before they could speak again, the bunker shook violently. Alarms wailed. Lyra's expression turned to fear. They felt it. The council felt the merge. Evan's glow flickered. Then we just told them exactly where we are. She took a deep breath. No, Evan, you don't understand. They're not just coming for me anymore. He stared. Then who? Her voice was barely a whisper. You, the first human to ever hold the core light. Outside, the desert cracked open, and from the sky the shadows of hundreds of ships began to fall. The night screamed. Thunder cracked across the sky, but it wasn't weather and it was war. Alien ships covered the heavens like a moving storm, their lights pulsing in rhythm, each beat shaking the world below. Evan stood at the mouth of the bunker, dust swirling around him. His veins still glowed faintly, threads of blue light running beneath his skin. He felt strange and stronger, faster, alive in a way no human should be. But the power burned like fire beneath his heart. Behind him, Lyra watched silently. Her silver eyes shimmered with fear and pride. The core light is awake inside you, she said softly. But it will test you. It never gives power freely. Evan clenched his fists, feeling energy hum in his bones. Then I'll pass its test. Lyra shook her head. If you fail, it will consume you. He gave a faint grin. Then it picked the wrong human to mess with. Outside, the desert was alive. Collectors marched in rows, silver soldiers with glowing masks. Above them floated command drones, their circular bodies buzzing with electric charge. And leading them, descending from the largest ship, was Kale, Lyra's brother. He was twice the size of a man, his body forged from living metal and burning light. When he landed, the sand beneath him turned to glass. His voice echoed across miles. "Lyra, traitor of the light, come forth and end this lie." Lyra stepped forward, her voice steady though her hands trembled. "You speak of purity, brother, but your heart is hollow. You turned the light into a weapon." Kale's eyes flared. "You gave our power to the Dirt Eaters. That is unforgivable." Evan stepped beside her. "That's Dirt Eater to you, buddy." Kale turned his gaze toward him, and in that instant Evan felt a weight crush his mind. 1,000 voices whispered inside his skull, cold and endless. Lyra grabbed his hand. "Focus. The core inside you is fighting back. Let it guide you." He closed his eyes. He could feel it, a pulse deep within his chest, the same rhythm as Lyra's. It wasn't just light. It was alive. It spoke in feelings, not words. And it told him one thing: fight back. The first collector charged, its weapon humming. Evan raised his hand instinctively, and light exploded from his palm. A wave of pure energy slammed into the machine, shattering it into pieces. He stared at his glowing hand. "Holy, did I just—" Lyra smiled faintly. "You used it. You controlled the core." Evan grinned. "Feels like holding lightning." But Kale didn't move. He only watched, his burning eyes unreadable. "Impressive, human. You wield what? You cannot comprehend. The light will eat you alive." Evan raised his chin. "Maybe. But I'll take a few of you with me." Kale's aura flared, and suddenly dozens of collectors rushed forward. Their weapons fired beams of white fire, lighting the night. Evan and Lyra moved together, their lights merging, blue and silver twisting like living storms. Every motion Evan made sent shockwaves of energy across the battlefield. He wasn't just fighting anymore. He was part of something vast, something ancient. The core inside him whispered again, "Protect, resist, endure." But the fight was endless. For every collector they destroyed, 2 more emerged. Lyra's glow flickered. Her energy was fading. Evan noticed and shouted, "Lyra, don't stop!" She shook her head weakly. "The core inside you is growing too fast. It's taking my energy to stabilize you. If I keep pushing, it will drain me completely." He grabbed her shoulders. "Then stop helping me." She smiled sadly. "I can't. We're connected now, remember?" Before he could reply, the ground cracked. Kale raised his hand, summoning a massive column of energy that tore through the sky. The blast hit the desert, turning everything white. When the light faded, Evan and Lyra were on the ground. She was barely conscious. Her veins flickered like dying stars. Kale walked toward them, his voice calm, cruel. "You see? The light belongs to the strong. The weak are only fuel." Evan's anger burned hotter than the pain. He stood, his eyes glowing now. Not blue, not silver, but gold. "Funny," he said through clenched teeth. "You talk about strength, but you're afraid of something." Kale tilted his head. "Afraid?" Evan stepped closer. "Yeah. You're afraid that a human, a simple piece of dust, can hold your sacred power without breaking." The alien's expression hardened. "You are an accident." Evan smiled faintly. "Maybe, but accidents can change everything." The core inside him roared. Energy burst from his body, swirling with Lyra's. Their lights merged into one brilliant storm, rising like a pillar toward the ships above. Kale shouted, "No! You cannot merge with her. It is forbidden." Evan's voice thundered back. "Then unforbid it." Their energy exploded outward. The entire desert shook. The alien ships began to distort, their symbols flickering. The core's power was rewriting reality itself, human and alien light fusing together. Lyra looked at him through tears. "You're becoming one with it." He smiled softly. "Guess I'm done being just human." She touched his face gently. "No, you're showing them what being human really means." Above them, Kale screamed as his form cracked with light. The merging energy spread across the battlefield, burning through alien code, freeing the machines that were enslaved. But Evan was fading too. The power was too much. His skin glowed like molten glass. Lyra clung to him, crying. "Don't let go," he whispered. I'm right here." Then he looked up at the sky, at the stars that had always felt so far away, and smiled. Time for humanity to leave a mark, and with that Evan unleashed the final surge. A beam of pure gold light shot into the heavens, shattering Kale's fleet into dust. The desert went silent. Only the wind remained, carrying the soft echo of two lights fading into one. When the dust settled, Lyra knelt in the crater where Evan had stood. The core light pulsed gently inside her again, but now a new glow mixed within it. Warm. Human. She whispered through her tears. "He's part of me now. Part of the light." Far above the ruined ships, the sky shimmered with a single golden streak, a reminder that one human, from a broken world, had defied the stars. The desert was silent again. No fire, no thunder, no ships, only the cold wind moving through the ruins of a battlefield that once glowed like a sun. At the center of it all stood Lyra, alone, surrounded by the soft dust that sparkled faintly under the early dawn. Her silver hair fluttered in the wind. The light inside her chest pulsed gently, gold and blue mixed together, alive. But Evan was gone. The place where he had stood was now a crater of glass, warm and glowing. The core light had taken him, carried his essence into something beyond flesh. Lyra knelt, touching the glowing glass with her hand. "You kept your promise," she whispered. "You didn't let them win," her voice broke. Tears fell onto the glowing surface, and where they touched, small golden lights rose, floating into the air like fireflies. Evan's voice echoed faintly in her mind. Soft, steady, human. "Told you, accidents can change everything." Lyra closed her eyes, smiling through her tears. "You are no accident, Evan Cole. You are the proof that light belongs to everyone." Days passed. Lyra rebuilt what remained of the bunker. The alien ships were gone, their metal melted into the desert. The core light inside her was quiet now, but different. She could feel something new: emotion, warmth, courage, the human parts of Evan living within her. She no longer felt alone. At night, she sat on the cliff, watching the sky. The stars looked closer now, like they were listening. She spoke softly to them, as if speaking to him. "You changed the song of the core. It used to be a weapon. Now it feels alive. Like you." Her voice echoed through the quiet desert. "I don't know if you can hear me, but your energy, it keeps me safe." And then, for the first time since the battle, the core light answered. Her chest glowed brighter. The air shimmered, and a shape began to form beside her. Faint, golden like a ghost made of light. It was him, Evan. Not flesh and bone, but energy, memory, and will. His eyes glowed the same soft gold that had destroyed the fleet. His smile was calm, almost human. Lyra gasped. "Evan?" He nodded slowly. "Guess I'm harder to kill than I thought." She covered her mouth, tears falling again. "You're alive?" "Not exactly," he said with a gentle laugh. "The core couldn't let me go. I'm part of it now. Part of you." She reached out to touch him, but her hand passed through light. "I can't feel you." "You don't need to," he said softly. "You are me now. My light is inside you, and our light." Lyra looked down, her voice trembling. "I don't want to lose you again." Evan's golden form flickered like a candle in the wind. "You're not losing me. You're taking me with you wherever you go." He looked up at the sky. "The council will come again. Maybe not today, maybe not for years. But when they do, you'll need to show them what humanity taught you." Lyra frowned. "And what's that?" He smiled. "That hope isn't born from power. It's born from choice." The next morning, Lyra began to build again. She used pieces of the destroyed ships, reshaping them with core light into something new. A small craft, sleek and silver, powered by the golden heart she and Evan had awakened. By nightfall, the ship stood ready. Its engine hummed with a sound that felt alive, like a heartbeat. Lyra stood before it, wind blowing through her hair. She looked back one last time at the desert that had changed everything. The place where Evan died was still glowing faintly, forming a symbol, a circle of gold, with a smaller star inside. His mark. Humanity's mark, she whispered. "Goodbye, Earth." The ship lifted from the sand, silent and smooth. Dust spiraled beneath it as it rose into the dawn sky. As she broke through the clouds, the golden light inside her chest pulsed in rhythm with the ship's core. Evan's voice echoed once more in her mind, soft and proud. "Keep going, Lyra, don't let them bury the light again." She smiled, looking out into the endless stars. "I won't." Hours later, far beyond Earth's orbit, Lyra saw them, the remnants of the Purity fleet scattered and broken, floating like dead whales in space. But deeper, beyond the asteroid fields, she felt something stir. A vast presence. The Council itself. She took a deep breath. "Then it begins." The core light within her flared. Her silver eyes turned gold. Evan's voice whispered one last time. "Show them what a human heart can do." Lyra's ship cut through the darkness like a blade of light, heading straight toward the alien homeworld. And as the stars swallowed her, her voice carried through the void, half song, half promise. "We were born from dust, but even dust can burn like the sun." The galaxy shivered. A new legend began. The legend of the human who defied the stars.